In this Grasshopper script, I want to show you how you can make a parametric curve with a graph mapper. So if you download the example file, here you can see that we have the graph mapper curve component. So actually, let me turn off everything and explain this, how it works. The first input is the starting point. You can give any point to this. You can also right click and set multiple points. For example, I can give 3 if I want to make 3 curves. But anyway, I'm going to start with 1. The curve direction is, for this example, X. For example, if I give this a Y, this is going to be in the Y direction. If I give this in the Z direction, this is going to go in the Z direction, but be aware that whatever direction you give the curve, you have to also define the movement direction. So if the curve is in the Z direction, obviously it's either in the X direction, Y direction, or whatever direction you want. So for example, here I have to give it X, and this is going to go in the ZX direction. Okay, let's go back to X and Z because we want to make it in the Z direction. The next is the direction length. So this is going to be the length from here to here. We can control that. The next thing is the resolution. The resolution is obviously the points we're going to use to make the curve. If you increase this, it's going to increase the accuracy, but remember that it's going to slow down also the process which we want to make the surface from it. The next thing is the graph mapper to make, and use the graph mapper. What you have to do is to use a set range and give the resolution to the N, and then give that to the graph mapper. And remember that you can use a combination of graph mapper. I'm going to explain this as we go forward. Okay, as you can see here, this is going to affect the curve, and we can just right click here and say linear, for example. We can say sine. So whatever graph mapper you want, you just have to give it to the input. The next one is the movement direction, which I've explained in the Z direction, and minimum and maximum movement. So this can help you to just say, I want to move it from 0 to 30, for example. So you can even make the minimum bigger than the maximum, so it's going to reverse the curve. So remember that you can also use that if you want to control the movement of the points. After you have produced the curve, you can make another copy of this. I have used the same point as here for this one. Let me show you. And now I have made it in the Y direction. So we have it in the Y direction. We can use multiple graph mappers. So for example, I can use a sine combined with Bezier. So here you can see that by changing this, I can make different results. I can even go and use this parabola. I can make it sigmoid logits and give that to the graph mapper. The next one is the movement. So it's again in the Z direction, and again minimum maximum, which you can control here. Okay. So after defining these two curves, we can simply use the surface freeform sum surface, which creates a sum surface from two edge curves. I've given this to the A and B, and you can see that it's going to produce the final results. If I bake that, this is the Nurbs surface it's going to produce. So for example, I'm going to make a minimum smaller than the maximum, so you can see that this is the curve. Okay. Now that we have made the surface, just an additional trick you can use is isotrim, surface utility isotrim. If you want to divide it into a series of U and V's, you can use the divide domain, and you can see that if I bake that, I can have this small part, And if you just want to convert those into a mesh, just give it a simple surface utility, simple mesh, and here you can see that it's going to produce these meshes. If I turn it on, you can see that the Nurbs surface, instead of being a curve, it's going to be an edge. So if I turn this off, turn these on, you can see that we can reach this final output here. But anyway, we can now play around with the inputs. So I can make this a little bit, give it a more length, play around with the graph mapper combination, maybe conic like this, and make it like this. So remember that you can also give any direction you want. For example, instead of X, I can just right click here and set one vector, and maybe I want to make it in this direction. You can see that it's going to go into that direction. This is a great tool if you want to make curves based on graph mapper or combination of graph mapper. You just have to give the resolution to the range, and then to the graph mapper, and then to the graph mapper inputs. I hope this Grasshopper script is useful. If you have any question, just ask below, and thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.